This is the lab video for Chemistry Lab 2.5, Acids and Bases. The purpose of this lab is to use a variety of techniques to identify common substances as acids or bases. The safety precautions that you need to take while performing this lab are: 1. Be careful with acids and bases. They can be caustic and cause burns. 2. Never touch or taste chemicals. 3. Waft fumes toward your nose to observe smell. Do not directly inhale fumes. 4. Wear safety goggles. 5. Report any accidents to the teacher. As always, before you begin the lab, read all of the instructions on the lab worksheet carefully. This video will show you the techniques needed to correctly test the acidity of each sample. Your grade, however, will be determined on how well you follow the instructions on the lab worksheet and on how thoroughly you answer the discussion questions. You will be testing the pH of each substance with phenolphthalein, a liquid indicator, with blue litmus paper, red litmus paper, and pH paper, and with a pH meter connected to the computer with a Vernier Lab Pro. Finding pH with a liquid indicator. First, place a white piece of paper on the lab table. Place a well plate on the white piece of paper. Using a clean dropper, place a dropper full of the substance to be tested in one of the wells on the well plate. Using a clean dropper, place 1 drop of phenolphthalein into the well with the substance to be tested. Stir with a stirring rod, then observe and record the color change, if there is any. Finding pH with a paper indicator. First, place a white piece of paper on the lab table. Place a clean watch glass on the white paper. Dip a piece of red litmus paper about halfway into the substance to be tested. Lay the litmus paper on the watch glass. Observe and record the color change if there is any. Repeat this process with the blue litmus paper. You will use the same process for testing with pH paper, except that with the pH paper you will match the color that the paper turns to the closest color on the pH paper dispenser. Finding pH with a pH meter connected to the computer. First, you must plug the Lab Pro into an electrical outlet. Then, plug the Lab Pro into one of the computer's USB ports. Next, plug the pH meter into the Lab Pro. Finally, open the Logger Pro software program on the computer. The computer should automatically detect that a pH sensor is plugged in. Get a beaker of distilled water. Unscrew the lid of the saline bottle and pull out the pH sensor. Rinse the sensor in the distilled water. Dip the sensor in the substance and record the pH reading from the computer screen. Let the sensor sit in the distilled water while you get another substance to test. After testing all the substances, rinse the sensor in distilled water before placing it back in the saline bottle and screwing on the lid. You are now ready to begin Chemistry Lab 2.5, Acids and Bases. Don't forget the safety guidelines for this lab. Be careful with acids and bases. Don't touch or taste the chemicals. Waft the fumes to smell them. Wear safety goggles and report any accidents to your teacher.